Jekyll Island, Georgia. 6 men, each wielding immense financial influence, convening at the exclusive Jekyll Island Club. Among them, names that echo through the annals of history: Nelson Aldrich, A. Piatt Andrew, Henry Davison, Arthur Shelton, Frank Vanderlip, and Paul Warburg. But why the cloak and dagger affair, you may ask? Therein lies the mystery. For behind closed doors, away from prying eyes, these titans of finance conspired to reform the very bedrock of America's economy, its banking system. Imagine the intrigue, the hushed conversations, the clandestine exchanges that transpired within the walls of the Jekyll Island Club. This, my friends, was the birthplace of a revolution, the blueprint for what would become the Federal Reserve System. As pens scratched across parchment, the fate of the nation's financial future hung in the balance. With meticulous precision, these architects of finance crafted a plan to reshape the banking landscape forever. But what, you may wonder, was the essence of this clandestine confabulation? For the plan devised on Jekyll Island laid the very foundation of the Federal Reserve, an institution that would wield unparalleled influence over the nation's economy. Back in the early 20th century, the minds behind the Jekyll Island rendezvous were driven by a profound sense of concern. They saw the banking system as plagued by deep-rooted issues, and they weren't alone in their apprehension. Before and after their covert gathering, these financial heavyweights didn't shy away from airing their views. Their worries found expression in the clandestine plan crafted on Jekyll Island and in the comprehensive reports of the National Monetary Commission. What kept them up at night? Financial panics. These weren't just occasional hiccups, but seismic disruptions that shook the very foundations of the American economy. Every 15 years or so, the nation found itself engulfed in turmoil. Banks slammed shut their doors, sending shockwaves through the economy. During economic upswings, when everything seemed rosy, banks found themselves flush with excess reserves. And where did these surplus funds gravitate? Particularly the financial hub of New York. There, bankers eagerly funneled these reserves into call loans, quick-fix loans repayable on demand to brokers. In the intricate web of American finance, brokers played a pivotal role. Armed with funds from banks, they dabbled in the high-stakes world of equity markets, using stocks as collateral for their transactions. It was a system that rendered bank reserves stagnant and equity markets perilously unpredictable, a volatile concoction teetering on the brink of financial chaos. Contrast this with the European approach, where bankers opted for a more grounded strategy. Instead of flirting with speculative ventures, they invested heavily in short-term loans to merchants and manufacturers. This commercial paper didn't just grease the wheels of commerce and industry, it also provided banks with assets that could be swiftly liquidated in times of crisis. But it wasn't just the immobile reserves and volatile markets that kept the Jekyll Island participants up at night. No, they were also vexed by the inelastic supply of currency in the United States. Tethered to gold, the value of the dollar danced to the tune of a special series of federal government bonds. This meant that the supply of currency remained stagnant, regardless of the ebbs and flows of demand, be it the fall harvest or the holiday shopping spree. Interest rates resembled a roller coaster, fluctuating wildly from one month to the next and paving the way for prolonged bouts of deflation. In a scathing critique published in the New York Times in 1907, Paul Warburg, a luminary in the world of finance, hailing from Germany and a partner at the esteemed Kuhn, Loeb and Company, likened America's financial system to a bygone era. Nelson Aldrich, a Republican senator with a keen eye for reform, particularly in matters of finance. As the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, Aldrich wasted no time in springing into action. In 1908, he joined forces with Republican Representative Edward Vreeland to craft a bill that would kickstart the wheels of change. Among its provisions was the creation of the National Monetary Commission, tasked with dissecting the intricacies of the financial system and proposing much-needed reforms. In 1910, Nelson Aldrich found himself convinced of one undeniable truth: the United States needed a central bank. He assembled a select group to distill their collective wisdom into a proposal for the establishment of said central bank. This clandestine cabal comprised Aldrich himself, his trusted aide Arthur Shelton, Davison, A. Piatt Andrew, then an assistant Treasury Secretary, the illustrious Frank Vanderlip of the National City Bank, and the esteemed Paul Warburg. And where better to hatch their scheme than within the opulent confines of the Jekyll Island Club? Emerging from their sequestered enclave, Aldrich and his cohorts unveiled a grand design: the Reserve Association of America. This monolithic entity would span the nation, boasting 15 branches, each governed by boards of directors elected by member banks. Yet, controversy brewed over the disproportionate influence granted to larger banks, a controversy that would echo through the corridors of power for years to come. But fate intervened, casting a shadow over Aldrich's vision as illness sidelined him, leaving Vanderlip and Strong to carry the torch to Washington. There, they unveiled the plan to the National Monetary Commission in January 1911. A year later, the plan, rebranded as the National Reserve Association, found its way to Congress. Yet, beneath the Commission's assertions of scientific rigor and democratic control, dissent festered. Critics, particularly among the Democrats, decried the looming specter of big bank dominance, igniting a fierce debate over the very essence of democracy. With a pivotal presidential election looming, the Democrats seized upon the opportunity to denounce Aldrich's brainchild, thrusting it into the political spotlight. And with Woodrow Wilson's victory, heralding a Democratic majority in Congress, the fate of the National Reserve Association seemed sealed. But amidst the tumult, hope flickered in the hearts of reformers. President Wilson, alongside Democratic stalwarts like Glass and Owen, championed their own vision of financial reform. The stage was set for a clash of ideals, a battle for the soul of American finance that would shape the nation's destiny for generations to come. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, press the subscribe button, and also drop your thoughts in the comment section.